Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Business Banking at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Denisha Boston Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand Marketing and Digital Agency. And we're focused on bringing the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry. And I'm very excited because a good friend of mine is on the show today, helping provide us with business empowerment. Is a leader in the nonprofit field. She is the executive director at QB Generational Change. Please welcome Belinda Watlkins. Belinda, thank you so much for coming on the show. QB Generational is organized and operated to empower youth with financial education and community development. With the work that I do at Jovia, obviously, that is paramount. Again, excited to have you aboard. And before we jump in, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, of course, I wear many hats, but yes, I did found the youth organization QB Generational Change. I am also the president of the Hempstead Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the proud owner of Unique In-Home Care Agency, where we give care and love. And I make customized gift baskets, and I have 3 beautiful children. Yes, so
that's a lot. That'll keep you busy.
Not to mention on the PTA board as well too for middle school.
And I always find that the busy people are always the ones who are very involved,
right,
and very ingrained in the community.
Right, exactly.
And you do a lot of great work. And we appreciate you being here because we know your time is valuable. Now, how did QB start?
Well, as you know, all the businesses I just listed. Starting, anybody who have a business knows it's not easy. It is not easy. I was working. I was a nurse for NYU, and then I'm working there, 3 kids, and I have my business, so it was getting neglected. Anyway, long story short, I said, you know what? Let me just do an event, and then I did an event for the kids. Actually, it was supposed to be in my backyard, and it rained, and then one of my friends who just opened up his business said, "Come over here and have it in my store." It was completely empty. And we wound up there. We started with 15 kids. That was back in maybe 2018. Mm-hmm. And then now the one that we have in August is our 8th event, and now we're up to 35 kids. So the whole goal was because I knew the struggles that I went through. So I said, imagine if someone younger than me wanted to start one. Why not help them along the way with all the resources that I'm connected with? So that's why it kept growing. That
is awesome. And So what type of work do you do with kids in QB?
The 2 main things is our 2 events that we have summer and in the winter, where they get to showcase their business and everything. But before each event, we do workshops. We do business workshops, financial literacy workshops, which we just did one with Jovia. Whatever I don't know, I bring in the expert because I'm still growing my business. I would never say, oh, yeah, I'm making, $5 billion, so listen to me. I usually try to bring in the expert to come and talk to the kids. We have business owner come in and talk to them. If they a baker, now we're starting programs where we will try to get you into a bakery just to kind of, master your craft. So those are the type of things that we do. Basically, is geared around business. But now, because it's all business, but now I have to start moving into the mental health side of it. It's because you can have a business, but if your mind is not right, it can flop just like that because you will neglect your business and then start doing fun activities with them now. Because that's all I've been pushing was business. But then I'm like, wait a minute, we got to have some fun in here too. So,
yes, I mean, if you're not having fun doing what you're doing,
right, exactly,
then you got to change what you're doing.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. There's so many different facets to business. So it's good that you cover all of that. Now, who is it that you are primarily looking to serve?
The age group is between the youngest I've had was 4 in my group, so 4 up to 24. Because what I was realizing as I was doing the events, we had a lot of the age group between 20 and 24. They didn't want to do it with the adults, the higher ages, because, it was the atmosphere wasn't right. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, I'll accept 24 and under. So that's the age group. But the event itself, that is community-based. So they'll come and shop with them to, spend their money, of course, to support the kids. But it's also bringing communities together as well. So the event itself is open to any and everybody. So it's all ages. So.
And what type of activities, if I was to come to the event, what would I expect to see?
You will see all the vendors set up, have their small business set up, but we also have a DJ. We usually have the kids zone with the bounce house, face painting. We have speakers come in, dancers, and there's usually some sort of surprise that you just got to come to the event and wait and see. So, but we do have a lot of elected officials come. Our Assemblywoman Taylor Darling, she's been a supporter for day one before she was even the Assemblywoman. I didn't even know her, and she came to my event. But now we're great friends now, and she's great. She supported it. So a lot of you never know which elected official will come. So we have Minority Affairs there, Nassau Chamber of Commerce, which you're familiar with.
Yes.
Frank and that crew, and then Eric from Vision Long Island. So you never know what organization will come through, and I have to say I do get a lot of support.
It's wonderful to see the focus being on youth and empowerment for youth, because they're the future. Was recently at the Minority Millennials We Are the Future Summit, and the focus on kids being so important, because that's the thing. I have daughters in the schools.
Right.
I want them to stay on Long Island. I want them to have opportunities.
Exactly.
So it's very important that we focus on what those opportunities are. Now, what sets you apart in your mission as a nonprofit?
Well, because it gears towards youth, and I noticed there's other organizations that they are considered youth organizations, but I feel like a lot of them, each one, are very repetitive. So it's not really teaching them to be self-sufficient. It's always teaching them, in which I'm not taking away from any school or anything like that, but it's teaching them to either go back to school, go to school, get a skill, which is great. But there's not enough life skills, because at this event, these kids are learning to talk to people. I had children who start with me wouldn't talk to anyone. I even had someone who he has ADHD, but he was fine the whole event. So it is teaching them life skills at the event as well, even before. Because although we talk about business, there's things that we add into it. Just how to present yourself, how to just being a great human being in society, because you see what goes on today. So a lot of the youth programs that are out there are great, but some of it is still the same. We want to teach the kids that, like, I can make my own money. If I don't, if school is not what it is for me, then I can still make my money. Or you can do both. Or you can do both. So that's what we try to teach them. It's not just one thing. You can have multiple streams of income.
Yes, and the thing is, for you to be successful, there's so many different areas that you need to be successful in.
Exactly.
You need to be successful in how you present yourself, as you touched upon. You need to be able to interact with others in a professional manner. And I do feel like, they get the basics in school, which is very important. Right. And teachers have their hands full just doing that.
Exactly, right.
But it's up to, folks like us, business leaders and community leaders, to pass along, all right, well, how do I act in an interview? How do I act when I'm working with a client?
Exactly.
And those are life skills.
Yeah, exactly. And with this day and age, with the social media, it's like a gift and a curse, because now I haven't seen so many young millionaires, and I'm 40, so I haven't seen this happen so quick like that, which is great. But then the structure of the money, who's teaching you how to get the money structure, and then the kids are losing the communication skill by always being on their phone and always on Instagram, so these events, you're forced to talk. You want to make money, you have, no one's because my age group is very wide. Some of them are working, some of them are in school, so they don't have time to sit on social media to make money and come Instagram sensation overnight. So I have to tell them, even with my own children, I'm very hard on my kids. I'm like, listen, you want money? Well, you have to sell the cupcakes. My middle son doesn't talk at all, really. But when he does cupcake and ices. But he was forced to speak, because how are you going to make money?
Yeah.
So, so it teaches them to speak. And to see the growth from when some of them started to me till now, it's a huge difference. Huge difference. They speak, they talk better. I'm giving them opportunities, not just only for my organization. If I partner with other organizations to give them other opportunities to speak and whatever it may be, something that I don't have. I have no problem partnering with someone else and networking with other people for them.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill, and our guest today is Belinda Watlkins. She's the Executive Director at QB Generational Change. Now, you've mentioned this a couple of times, and I agree with you as somebody who networks a lot. I don't network just to hang out, socialize, have a couple of drinks and a couple of, something to eat. you network because you want to meet others who kind of fill your team.
Exactly.
And your team is always, yes, you have internal people you partner with, but, folks like me and you, we partner together. And it's very important to do that because I'm certainly far from an expert in everything.
Right, exactly. And that's why you bring in people, you could be the CEO of something, but you will continue to be the CEO and be a stronger CEO if you bring in a team. Sometimes you got to bring in people smarter than you. That's a hard fact that people don't want to understand. And this is what I try to teach the kids. You could do it all if you want. It's going to take you longer to get there. But find somebody that's smarter than you to do it. If you are the smartest person in your circle, that's not good.
Right, because then you're the workhorse.
Exactly.
You're doing everything.
I have turned, and everybody joke with me because I am network queen. We actually have a workshop for networking too for the kids too. But
that's awesome.
Just like how I met you, I'm a board member of Nassau Council Chamber, right? You came to speak. So in my mind, my brain always go crazy when I'm listening to people talk. I reached out to you, and you guys, Jovia, came in and did a workshop, and now I'm working with Jovia. So and that's how it works. Same thing with Raymond Flanagan. They're a sponsor of this next event. We're actually in their store because they was at the breakfast, and then I said, you know what? I like this story. If you read the story about how this Raymond Flanagan started, it was the family. They kept it in the family. I believe it was brothers, and then they brought the cousins in, and it just grew. And they mostly are, people think it's a furniture, they mostly are real estate because they wanted to bond up all the real estate. So just things like that, this is what we teach them. But when I heard that story, I said, I got to get them to come in to speak to my kids. They came to one of it, spoke, and they was a sponsor of that last event. Now I'm in their store. So it's the power of networking, and that's what I have to teach the kids because these kids are thinking that it's coming overnight, and it's not.
No,
it's not. It took a long time to get here. Now I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. I'm like, look, I got this going on. Can you do this?
The most important thing you can do is ask.
Exactly. And the worst they could do is say no.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Now, what other organizations do you partner with or that you might be looking to partner with?
So far, of course, and I'll say it again, Jovia, we've partnered with Jovia. I have partnered with, I forgot the other big, Nassau Federal Credit Union, Cultivating Minds, that's another organization, Vision Long Island, they've helped. It's just so many that worked with us, and now we're inside the Uniondale Library. We'll have our workshops there. They hired us to come in and do a workshop in the summertime. So it's various different people and I'm also very cautious too, because a lot of people will say, okay, it's moving, she's doing this, she's doing that. You have to be genuine to come to me to really partner. It's not a take. You have to. It's a give and take. So that's what I look for when I partner with some other organizations. So. Yeah,
that's a very important distinction because here's the thing. You have a brand that you're protecting.
Exactly.
You have a mission that you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
And the last thing you want to do is partner with somebody that
right. And exactly. And it's all youth. I don't want to bring my group of kids somewhere and then you're smoking, you're drinking, and I'm like, and then the parents are looking at me. I have a brand to protect, so I'm very cautious of who I partner with and who is really genuine. Yep. And nowadays it's really hard to really. It's like, okay, do I trust you? Do I not? So I'm really cautious about that. So,
yeah, it takes time to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the misconceptions that might be out there about the type of business that you do or the work that you do?
Well, it's not so much first and foremost, they think, you have a nonprofit, you're making $1 million, and that is not the case. That's number one. And they also think it's an easy thing to do because I've had some people who try to copy it.
Yeah.
And they even try to pull some of my vendors, and some of my vendors came back and they was like, oh my God, they don't even feed us. We don't get this, we don't get that. The atmosphere was just very bad. Now, I'm not saying vendor events been around for years, but a lot of people think what I'm doing is something easy and that they can do overnight. And I'm like, go ahead, try it. I'm not taking away from it. But for me, because I'm just extra and I'm just different, I always try to find out if it's the same thing, but I need to find out something different that I can do during my event. And what I do, it's a lot that goes on in the event. But again, everybody just think it's an easy thing. Now, as far as other bigger organization and financial institutes and things like that, they think every nonprofit is on the same level financially, and that is not the case. And we're talking about all the way up to the to the county, and you literally have to prove to them, which I get it, because if you're asking for money, you have to make sure everything, your ducks is in a row. But when you first starting, it's coming out of your pocket. It's coming out of your pocket, and I've been doing this since 2018, and I've been coming out of my pocket. So, but I love what I do. But I would like for everyone to stop thinking we have smaller organizations we're not sitting on a bunch of money. So the donations, the sponsorship, if you see a smaller organization asking, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
It's for a reason. We can't just pocket it, because we will get in trouble. Anybody who has a nonprofit, all your stuff, your receipts, everything have to be together. So that's not the case. So when you give in money, especially to a good mission, it is going to use. If anyone that is listening have ever been to any of my events, you'll be like, okay, now I see where the money go. I had Anissa Moore from the county. She came because she's heard the name, but when she came to the event, she was like, wow. Even Eric from Vision Long, he said, I heard you was doing events, Belinda, but I never knew that it was this big like this. So they were able to see it. They were able to see it, and they were willing to cut a check. So
because the money that you're getting,
it goes
you're
right
putting
back.
That right out.
It goes right back, because the goal is eventually at these events to present each vendor funding so they can grow their business. And of course, I'm a papers person. We have to vet everybody. You have to be serious about it. I'm not just going to give you $1,000 and then next year you're like, you don't want to do it. So, but that is the goal to, and it could be both, whether it's your school supplies or the supplies to grow your business. Mm-hmm. So that is what I'm working on. So those donations that come in, that's what it really goes to try to build a workshop, build the mentors. Because, we have to still get materials and things like that. Printing is not free.
No, exactly. No, that's the thing. Again, the money is being put towards the mission.
Exactly.
And that's how a lot of nonprofits are measured. One of the things I learned, right. I've been involved with the Imagine Awards through Sereni and Associates for since it started 11 years ago, and that brought to my attention something called the program service percentage. And so that's what the nonprofits focus on is, all right, we're taking in this money. How much of that as percentage is going out into the mission and actually achieving what we're trying to do. So, kudos to you for, doing that the right way. Now, a lot of your work is experiential. You mentioned, what happens at the events. So how do you get folks to understand the benefits of your work?
Well, when they come to the event, I do my spiel, and I try to say it without crying, because I get very emotional about it, because what I've been through, just even growing up, look, I grew up in Freeport, born and raised, everything, and I love my hometown. But things, I'm one of 6, so it wasn't always easy, and I'm not saying I was the perfect kid in school, but I was always on honor roll. But my point is to look back at myself now to see how far I've come to now I can actually teach children something and then eventually grow it. And even in my home care, I can now actually hire people. So that's something that I'm like, to me, it's just, I don't know, it's just surreal, because I'm like, look at me, and now I can teach that to someone else, to tell these kids to hold on. And there's a lot of kids that they're getting in trouble. But for me, when they come to the event and see it, that's their time to slow down and give them something positive and hope that it can change their direction of where they're going. Because there's other kids that come to the event, that will see like, wait a minute, they selling and making money. But the parents are telling me on the side is like, look, he's giving me this, she's giving me this trouble here. But once they either join or I pull them to the side, and if I can't mentor them, I try to send them to someone else. So if I can save at least one kid, and by the power of making your own money, then I have to keep going. I can't stop. I have to keep going. Because even during the event, like right now, our event, DJ Shot Skill is our DJ. But if we have a younger DJ, he will help DJ the event. He probably will never have that opportunity to do that. Most people, it's all about money. So they're not going to hire a kid that they never heard play before. But if this event is either hit or miss, you good, you bad, because everybody's trying to make money. So no one's really paying attention like, oh my God, this kid is horrible. But they look up and say, wait, that's a kid over there DJing? And then they'll start listening, and then he just might get a job from there.
Yeah, and I think it's important to encourage and then give that feedback. So
exactly.
I'll give you an example, and this is kind of funny because it is, it's working with kids, but in the neighborhood, we're lucky in that we have a neighborhood where a lot of the parents are not allowing the kids to have phones very early on. Right. So it's like Sandlot. The kids are playing around the block, they're doing fun things. Exactly. So I'm doing some work around the house the other day, and there's a knock at the door. And there's 2 little girls there, and they have rocks. And they've painted on the rocks, and they're saying, would you be interested in buying a decorative rock that makes the curb appeal of your house?
Wow. But,
and I was like, wow, that's very impressive. Yes, I'd be very interested. How much are the rocks? And they said, well, there's you can buy one for $2 or you can buy two for $5. And I like their pricing. I'm like, oh, sure, I'd love to do that. And then I encouraged them. I said, oh, you know what? If you're painting some of the bigger rocks,
exactly,
you can put them in a wagon and you can bring it around and you can show a variety of
exactly.
Oh, and they were all excited about it.
And it's funny that you say that because one year we actually did have it was a young boy. And he had rocks. And I was like, okay. Because when the mother called, she's like, well, can my son be a part of this? He's selling rocks. And I'm like, rocks? Okay. And I said, could you explain a little more? Because I don't just want just rocks on the table. She's like, no, he put little messages on it. And I said, oh. And I think he was called Happy Rocks or something like that. Uh-huh. And believe it or not, people was buying them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cute.
People was buying them.
Cute idea. Yeah, you got to encourage that type of thing. Now, obviously, you have a passion for what you do. What is it that you like most about your work?
Honestly, it's just getting the feedback from the parents and just being around them. As a parent, you always say the kids just drive you crazy. They all drive me crazy, but it's just to know that all right, when they in this element, they're happy, they're getting their money, they're doing whatever. Everything else on the outside of that doesn't even matter. Once they're in my program, that's it. This is what it is. And so getting the joy of seeing them happy makes me happy. When someone called me and say, listen, I got a job over here or someone sold this because it came through your organization, that's what the joy that I get out of it.
You are listening to Tara Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Belinda Watlkins, Executive Director at QB Generational Change. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. So, looking back, what are the accomplishments that you feel, wow, we've reached that milestone that you're very proud of?
Yeah, because this is our 8th event. So just to see the growth of how many kids we have now, I think I probably have about 40 in my group that we have, and we've grown so much. And I don't want to give too much information, but we finally have an office space.
Yay!
We finally have an office space, so now the kids can actually come to an office. It's going to be in Hempstead. But you guys have to wait for the details on the grand opening. But yes, we finally have a space. So to see that, my ultimate goal is a building. Eventually, to have a building where it's a multi-purpose building. But I have to start somewhere, and of course, it's all funding. So, but we finally find a place. So to see that milestone is just every day I get when I think about it. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even gone yet to go paint the place because it's just. I've been on the road. We've been mobile for a very long time. I reached out to elected officials. So if they're listening, hint, hint. We're even in the vehicle because as you see my vehicle, someone sideswiped my vehicle. I'm back and forth deliveries for this organization. Even my decorator one time, she was double booked. I packed all her stuff in my minivan. So it's like, this is really,
we need some resources.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm happy. I do apologize. I'm happy that, to see how far we come and the people that's starting to support us. And we're starting to get notary. And Channel 12 News came twice. Antoinette, shout out to her, love her. And that was the power of networking because she was at the Blake Slade Award. So that's how I started, and I said, listen, and I did my spiel with her. But that was... So, now people are starting noticing us. So that's the great thing about that. So, but that's the milestone that I'm most proud about. That now how far we come, starting from 15 kids to almost 40. That's a lot.
That's a big achievement for sure.
Yeah. So our 10th one will be in August 2024. So that's going to be big. Really, really big. So we're looking for a location. So if any place out there want to sponsor that event, because it's going to be big, that is what we're looking for next, our 10th event. So you got a little time.
Sounds good. Now, what's the one thing that you want to make sure you leave our listener with?
What I want to say to the listeners, please, if you can, I don't care what background you come from, what neighborhood you come from, this is right now our children are hurting to a certain extent because of COVID. We can ignore it if we want to, but we're going to have more problems. So if you find a kid that you can mentor them, send them to me. I have such different resources around me that I can reach out to, but please, let's hold on to our children and mentor them. And, and then when it comes, and in terms of it coming to, them being self-sufficient and things like that, let's teach them business, get them, workshops, things like that. But the main thing is just mentor these children because, our children is our future. That's the old saying that we've been hearing Whitney used to say. The children are our future, and we have to invest in them because we are getting older. We need them to invest back into us. So my main thing is just let's all work together. And as far as my organization, we have to bridge that generational gap. And it's not just, yes, certain coaches are lacking different from others, but right now, honestly, everybody is hurting. So we have to bridge that generational wealth gap, and I'm here to help, starting with the youth. The adults, I'll work on y'all in a little bit, but but right now, focus on the kids. So mentoring a kid, grab one. Let's invest in our children, and that's really my main goal: is to invest in our children.
And what resources would you have for parents that you'd like to point out, or maybe some advice you'd like to give to parents?
I have connections with people who can do financial literacy. If you have, I work a lot with the school district, so there's a lot of social work there. I have one organization that she's a life coach, but she does it with children. So she has a mentorship program. I think it's MRT Empowerment, and Cultivating Minds is another one. So it's just so many places that I can put them. If they're interested in clothes, they can reach out to me. Central Station, who's one of our sponsors, he has 2 clothing stores, believe it or not, right next to each other. And they can work there for the day. It's just so many different things that if I don't have it, I can connect into it. And parents, do not be afraid to reach out for help. Don't be embarrassed. Listen, all the things that I do and the positive things that I do, I have 3 children. So out of 3, one of them is going to give you a hard time. So I know. So I don't feel bad. I don't feel, because I gave them the tools, and there's always going to be one that's like, okay. So don't feel bad. Reach out for help. It's okay to talk to someone. It's okay, because we got to a point where we don't want to talk to anyone. Mm-hmm. So, but please reach out. I'm here. If you don't want to tell me, I can send you to someone. Yeah. So.
And what's the best way for us to contact you and find you?
You can, about my organization, it'll be qbgenerationalchange.org. That is our website, qbgenerationalchange.org. Our email is info@qbgenerationalchange.org.
Thank you for our guest, Belinda Watlkins. She's the executive director at QB Generational Change. I would like to leave you with DB's philosophy. Good habits are formed at youth, and they make all the difference. That's Aristotle. We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Denisha Boston Hill, your co-host and producers. Visit nccradio.org for more information. Available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the voice of National Community College, 90.3 WHPC.